Our film begins in a specialized world of eyes led by a man named Yeun. He emphasizes that each one of us has different eyes from the others. Yeun, a father and husband, reveals that he realized the similarity between cameras and human eyes when he was a child, sparking his passion for studying eyes. At 26, while pursuing his doctorate in New York, he encounters a masked girl at a Halloween party. Yeun asks to photograph her eyes, but she escapes, leaving him intrigued. The next day, Yeun visits the lab where he meets his colleague Kenny, who introduces him to a new student named Karen. Yeun approaches Karen and they get to know each other. Karen learns that Yeun conducts experiments on Fren, who has color blindness, aiming to help her see colors again. Yeun reveals that Karen's task will be monotonous, involving numerous failed experiments until one succeeds. He also informs her that he dislikes frequent questions and instructs her to document all observations. Yeun observes Karen's exceptional abilities and discovers that she uses mutations to enhance human eyes. Karen suggests that if they reach the original gene that the eye adopted, they can solve the equation, create a normal eye, and turn hypotheses into reality. However, Yeun acknowledges the complexity and time-consuming nature of such a task. Later that night, Yeun asks Kenny about the girl from the Halloween party, showing him a picture of her eyes. He expresses a feeling of emptiness after she leaves and a desire to connect with her in any way possible, eliciting a bemused response from Kenny due to Yeun's romantic and peculiar language. The next day, Yeun searches for the girl amidst the crowd but fails. On the bus, he hears a dog barking strangely and interprets it as a signal. Exiting the bus, he finds an advertisement with a picture of the girl's eyes. Yeun rushes to the lab, locates her on the computer, and discovers her exceptional beauty. Yeun questions Karen about her work, realizing that she is analyzing all the samples, aiming to reach the original gene they need. Days pass, and Yeun spots the girl in the subway, but she remains silent. When she stands to leave, he follows her, playing the song they shared at the party through his earphones. She introduces herself as Sophie, and they sit together discussing her extensive travels. Sophie avoids answering questions about her family and occupation, revealing her lifelong sense of loneliness. However, upon meeting Yeun, she felt an instant connection. As days go by, Yeun learns more about Sophie's likes and dislikes. She invites him to watch her favorite animal, the white peacock, which she symbolizes scattered souls in the world. Yeun shares his theory that in the future, humans might be cloned with the same genes. Sophie proposes that when she dies, her soul could transfer to someone with similar traits. Yeun agrees and moves to live with Sophie, transferring his belongings to her place. Upon arriving, Yeun sees pictures of Sophie with her family and recognizes them. Sophie shows him a photo of a statue in St. Anna's Cemetery, but Yeun dismisses it as photoshopped. Offended, Sophie insists that the eyes were real and captured in the photo. After a few days, Sophie and Yeun go to the office to get married. However, the clerk informs them that they need to wait for 24 hours so that she can decide if she wants to marry this young man or not. They leave the office, already planning to return the next day for the wedding. Sophie tells Yeun that they are already married in the world of souls. Suddenly, Yeun receives a call from Karen, who tells him that she has successfully traced the genes of a strange worm back to the original gene. This discovery means they can now build an eye from scratch. Yeun is surprised and agrees to meet Karen immediately. However, Sophie expresses her discomfort because she doesn't know who Karen is, and she doesn't want Yeun to go to the lab on their wedding day. Yeun tries to reconcile with her and they go to the lab together. When Karen sees Sophie and realizes she is Yeun's wife, she reacts strongly, making excuses to leave. Sophie convinces Yeun that he is meddling in divine will by trying to give eyes to worms they were created by God without eyes. Suddenly, a powerful solution is poured into Yeun's eyes. Sophie is upset, but Yeun is determined to proceed. Karen arrives and instructs Yeun to speak while she takes charge. She places a screen over his eyes and assures him that he will improve within an hour. Karen leaves him and Sophie is left concerned. The elevator malfunctions when they try to leave, and Yeun removes the screen to figure out how to open the door from above. When they finally exit, Sophie collapses in Yeun's arms. Days pass and Yeun becomes depressed, isolating himself. One day, Karen calls Yeun and reveals a significant breakthrough. She has successfully implanted a light cell into a worm and mutations have been successful. Yeun blesses her and she notices his tension. When she hugs him, he breaks down. 7 years later, Yeun and Karen are married and Karen is pregnant. During a television interview, Yeun discusses their journey and the book with a critical eye. Then they go out to dinner with Kenny. After some time, Karen gives birth to a son named Tobias. The doctor informs them of a potential autism diagnosis, prompting further examination. During a clinic visit, Tobias reacts strongly to a large picture of a woman. Yeun and Karen investigate the places in the photos and discover their authenticity. Yeun decides to visit one of those places to understand the connection between his son and the location. Afterwards, Yeun goes to Paul Edgar's farm, where he meets his daughter and learns that Paul has passed away. Suddenly, Tobias' stepmother, who turns out to be the same person Tobias saw in the examination photos, arrives and collapses. Yeun informs Kenny and Karen about the situation, and we find out that Kenny works in a company with millions of eye matches. They decide to try the eyes of deceased people to identify them. Naturally, it seems impossible to find a match with another person. However, when they analyze Sophie's eyes, they discover a match recorded 3 months ago in India. They're shocked and realize there must be a mistake. Karen insists that Yeun travels to understand what happened, but he is stubborn and refuses to revisit that time. Despite Yeun's reluctance, Karen persists, and he eventually travels to India, staying in a local hotel. The next day, he visits the facility where the eyes were recorded and meets a doctor named Priya. He inquires about the eyes and learns that they belong to a girl named Salomina, who has been missing for 7 years, the same duration since Sophie's death. Yeun expresses the need to see Salomina, and they agree to meet the next day. When they meet, Salomina reveals her anxiety but eventually explains that she discovered Yeun is a renowned scientist. She takes him to her place, revealing that she's an orphan and that both her parents passed away weeks ago. Yeun calls Karen at night, updating her on the situation, and she insists he should continue the search. The next day, Yeun hangs a poster of Sophie's eyes in the street for anyone who might recognize her. Many people call, but none fit the description. Weeks later, Karen contacts Yeun, advising him to return as there seems to be no progress. Yeun refuses to give up but finds no matching criteria. Suddenly, he receives a call from a young girl standing near the poster, Salomina. He contacts Priya to inform her and takes Salomina to a hotel. Later, he calls Karen, updating her about finding Salomina and the need to start the test. Yeun shows Salomina pictures related to Sophie, and she chooses the same ones that Sophie talked about but with many mistakes. In the end, Karen learns that the results are 44%, a significant percentage but far from the standard. Yeun feels a sense of absurdity. Karen urges him to return, but he is determined to continue. Salomina, however, develops a fear of elevators, triggering Yeun's memory of Sophie's tragic death in one. At this moment, Yeun realizes that Sophie's spirit has somehow returned in the form of a little girl. He embraces Salomina and they leave the hotel, starting Yeun's journey from atheism to believing in the existence of a higher power. And that was the end of our film today. Thanks a lot for making it that far. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to help us make more of this content. Peace out.